The first gunshot shattered the champagne glass in the hand of Clara Whitmore. Crystals scattered across the wedding table. The orchestra stopped. A woman screamed near the center of the ballroom. Clara remained standing beneath the enormous chandelier as another bullet struck the reinforced windows behind her. A web of cracks spread across the glass. The guests who had spent the entire evening whispering about her appearance now threw themselves beneath tables and behind stone pillars. Some of them shouted the name of Roman DeLuca. Others begged his guards to protect them. Roman stood beside the black marble fireplace. He did not move when the first shot was fired. He did not move when the second bullet struck the window. His dark eyes searched the ballroom once. Then they found Clara. "Get down." His voice was calm. Clara lowered herself behind the bridal table, just as another bullet struck the wall above her. Black-suited guards drew their weapons. 2 men locked the ballroom doors. 3 others rushed toward the western corridor. The musicians crawled behind the stage. Clara looked through the smoke and searched for Eleanor. Her mother had been standing near the terrace doors moments earlier. Now Clara could not see her. She rose. Roman crossed the ballroom before she could take another step. He caught her wrist. "Where are you going?" "I need to find my mother." She was taken to the safe room. "How do you know?" "Because I gave the order." Another explosion shook the mansion. The chandelier swung above them. Clara looked toward the western corridor. Dark smoke poured beneath the doors. Roman pulled her closer. "You are leaving this room." "Not without my mother." "Your mother is protected." "I need to see her." "You need to stay alive." His fingers tightened around her wrist. Clara looked directly into his eyes. The guests had spent the day calling her weak. Roman had spent the day treating her like a signature on a contract. Now both of them expected her to obey without question. She pulled her wrist free. "I stopped following orders when your guests began betting on how quickly you would abandon me." Something changed in his expression. It disappeared almost immediately. The lights went out. Darkness swallowed the ballroom. Gunfire erupted near the doors. Roman wrapped one arm around the waist of Clara and forced her to the floor. His body covered hers. He fired twice into the darkness. The light from his weapon revealed broken chairs. Terrified guests and armed men entering through the western doors. "Stay behind me." "I cannot see anything." "You do not need to see. I need to know where we are going." Roman pushed her toward the fireplace. He pressed a hidden section of the wall. A narrow doorway opened behind the stone. One of his guards appeared beside them. "Take the bride to the private wing." Clara stepped back. "I am not going anywhere until I see my mother." Roman looked at the guard. "Leave us." The guard hesitated. Now, the man disappeared into the smoke. Roman turned back toward Clara. His voice became quieter. "Your mother was moved beneath the kitchen before the attack began. There are 8 men with her. She is safer than anyone in this ballroom." Clara searched his face. "Why did you move her before the attack?" "I did not." "Then how did you know there would be danger?" Roman did not answer. A bullet struck the fireplace. Stone exploded beside them. Roman pulled Clara through the hidden doorway and closed it behind them. The sounds of gunfire became distant. Emergency lights illuminated a narrow passage inside the walls. Roman took her hand. Clara tried to pull away. He did not release her. The passage opened into a stone staircase. They climbed toward the second floor while smoke followed them through the walls. Clara struggled to breathe. Her wedding veil caught on a metal hook. Roman tore it free. "That was expensive." "You are welcome." "That was not gratitude." "I know." They reached a reinforced door at the end of the staircase. Roman entered a private bedroom and locked the door behind them. The room overlooked a stormy ocean. Candles burned across the walls and beside a large bed covered with white flowers. Clara stared at the romantic decorations. They seemed almost cruel after the cold ceremony and the attack downstairs. Roman moved toward the windows. He checked the balcony and the locks. Clara looked at the blood on his white shirt. "Are you injured?" "It is not my blood." That is not comforting. It was not intended to be. Clara looked down at her hand. A piece of glass had cut her palm. Blood moved between her fingers. Roman noticed. Sit down. It is a small cut. Sit down. Clara. She looked at him. That is the first time you have said my name tonight. Roman did not respond. He opened a medical cabinet and returned with clean cloth. Clara sat on the edge of a chair. Roman knelt in front of her. He poured water across the wound and removed a fragment of crystal. His hands were careful. His face was not. His expression remained hard and distant. Clara watched him wrap the cloth around her palm. Who attacked the mansion, I do not know. You expect me to believe that? No. At least you are honest about something. Roman tied the cloth. You should not have left the table. My mother was missing. She was protected. I did not know that. You could have trusted me. Clara laughed once. Trust you. You arrived at my shop with a marriage contract and threatened to take everything my mother owns. I offered an alternative. You offered a prettier form of destruction. Roman stood. You signed. I signed because my father died with a debt large enough to bury my family. Your father did more than borrow money. Clara became still. What does that mean? Roman turned toward the windows. This is not the time. When will it be the time? After the men attacking my house are dead. Your house. Roman looked back at her. Our house. The words hung between them. Clara did not know whether they were a warning or a promise. A sharp sound came from the balcony. Roman drew his weapon. The curtains moved. A man crashed through the glass doors. Roman fired. The attacker rolled behind a chair. A second man appeared outside. Clara stepped backward. The first attacker lunged toward her and grabbed the skirt of her wedding gown. Clara fell against the wardrobe. The fabric tore across her shoulder and back. Roman struck the attacker with the handle of his weapon. He pulled Clara away. The second man fired from the balcony. Roman turned and shielded her. The bullet struck the wall. A candle fell into the curtains. Fire climbed the fabric. Roman fired again. The second attacker collapsed beside the balcony rail. The first man tried to rise. Roman kicked the weapon away from him. Clara pressed herself against the wardrobe. Her wedding dress had torn down the back. One sleeve slipped from her shoulder. Cold air touched the scar she had hidden beneath fabric for most of her life. Roman turned toward her. He stopped. The anger disappeared from his face. He stared at the scar on her shoulder. Clara pulled the torn fabric across her body. What are you looking at? Roman stepped closer. Do not move. Do not give me orders. Where did you get that mark? Clara reached toward the scar. The skin had been damaged by fire when she was a child. Beside it was a dark symbol shaped like two wings surrounding half of a crown. I have always had it. That is impossible. Clara raised her chin. It is on my body. Roman placed his weapon on a table. Then he reached beneath his shirt. He pulled a blackened metal pendant from a chain around his neck. The pendant carried the other half of the symbol. Clara stared at it. Roman held it near her shoulder. The two pieces completed each other. The wings formed a circle. The broken crown became whole. The doors opened behind them. Armed guards entered the bedroom and seized the surviving attacker. None of them spoke when they saw the pendant. Roman looked at Clara as if she had become another person. Clara had seen that look many times. People often looked at her differently after learning that she had designed an expensive gown or solved a difficult problem. This was not admiration. This was fear. Roman lowered his voice. That symbol belonged to the Valenti family. I have never heard that name. They controlled this harbor 20 years ago. What happened to them? They died. Roman looked at her scar. Every one of them died in a fire. Clara felt the room move beneath her feet. Roman closed his fingers around the pendant. Everyone except you. Hours earlier. The wealthy families of Belhaven had gathered inside the coastal cathedral to watch the most feared man in town marry the woman they had mocked for years. Clara heard their whispers before the doors opened. They did not try to speak quietly. Roman could have chosen anyone. Perhaps he wanted a wife who would be grateful. She must know why he chose her. Look at the dress. She probably made it herself. Who else would make something that size? Clara stood behind the cathedral doors beside Eleanor Whitmore. Eleanor adjusted the veil with trembling hands. You do not have to do this. Yes. I do. We can leave Belhaven. With what money? I will find something. You have spent your whole life finding something. Clara covered the hands of Eleanor. Now it is my turn. Eleanor looked at her with wet eyes. You do not know what kind of man Roman DeLuca is. Everyone has made certain I know. Stories about Roman moved through Belhaven like fog from the ocean. He controlled the shipping companies, the private security firms, and several politicians along the coast. Men who betrayed him disappeared. Men who owed him money paid before they fed their families. His name could empty a restaurant. His silence could end a conversation. 3 months earlier, the father of Clara had died after a long illness. Henry Whitmore had been a quiet accountant who loved old books and feared the Eastern Harbor. After his funeral, Clara discovered the debt. $12 million had been borrowed through companies connected to Roman. The family house, the bridal shop, and several acres near the harbor were listed as security. Roman entered the shop 2 weeks later. Rain covered his black coat. Clara was kneeling on the floor and adjusting the hem of a wedding gown. The daughter of the mayor stood on a platform and looked at Roman with immediate interest. She is only the seamstress. Roman ignored her. Clara Whitmore. Clara stood. Yes. You inherited the obligations of your father. The daughter of the mayor left without finishing the fitting. Roman placed a folder on the cutting table. A marriage contract waited inside. Clara read the first page twice. Why would you marry me? Your family owns land that I require. You can take the land. I can. Then why this marriage prevents several legal disputes? That is a terrible proposal. It is not a proposal. What is it? An option. What is the other option? Your mother loses the house. Your shop closes. The remaining creditors will be less patient than I am. Clara hated his calm voice. She hated the way he treated the destruction of her life like a business decision. She also knew that Eleanor would never survive losing the house Henry had built. Clara signed. Now the cathedral doors opened. Hundreds of faces turned toward her. Roman waited at the altar. He wore a black suit. He stood beneath the pale stone arches with his hands at his sides. His expression revealed nothing. Clara began to walk. Her gown moved through the candlelight. She had designed it to fit her body rather than hide it. Silver thread covered the long sleeves. The skirt followed her curves before flowing toward the floor. Clara knew what the guests saw. They saw a chubby girl with a round face and a body they believed should be hidden. They saw a woman they had called ugly since childhood. Clara had altered gowns for many of them. She had listened while beautiful women complained about flaws no one else noticed. She had watched their mothers praise her talent because they could not praise her appearance. She had spent years learning how cruelty often arrived beneath a polite smile. Clara kept walking. Roman watched her. For one moment, his cold expression changed. His eyes moved over the gown and returned to her face. He did not look disgusted. He did not look amused. He looked surprised. The ceremony was brief. Roman spoke his vows without emotion. Clara spoke hers without trembling. When the priest told Roman to kiss the bride, whispers moved through the cathedral. Roman placed one hand at her waist. He leaned closer. You can turn away. Clara held his gaze. I am not afraid of a kiss. I did not say you were. His mouth touched hers. The kiss was brief. Roman stepped back almost immediately. Clara still felt it after the priest continued speaking. The reception was held inside DeLuca House. White roses climbed the marble pillars. Hundreds of candles burned beneath gold chandeliers. The ocean stretched beyond the tall windows. The orchestra played while wealthy guests ate food prepared by chefs brought from New York. The celebration looked like a wedding for royalty. The guests treated Clara like a joke. Two women discussed whether Roman would keep a mistress. Several men guessed how many months Clara would remain in the mansion. Adrian Vale collected money from anyone willing to place a bet. 1 month. 3 months. Until Roman received control of the harbor. Clara sat beside Roman at the bridal table. Roman spoke quietly with Luca Moretti, his closest advisor. He barely touched his food. He watched the doors instead of the guests. Clara looked at him. You could pretend to enjoy this. I am enjoying it. You look like you are attending a funeral. Weddings and funerals have many similarities. That is the most romantic thing you have said today. The corner of his mouth moved. It was not a smile. Clara still noticed. Across the ballroom, Eleanor stood near the terrace doors. Adrian Vale approached her with a glass of champagne. His voice became loud enough for several tables to hear. Mrs. Whitmore. You must be relieved. Eleanor looked at him. Why? It cannot be easy supporting a daughter with so few opportunities. Several guests laughed. Clara began to stand. Roman placed his hand over hers. Stay. He is speaking to my mother. I can hear him. Adrian continued. Roman can certainly afford to feed both of you. The laughter grew louder. Roman rose. The orchestra stopped without being told. He crossed the ballroom. Adrian tried to smile. Roman removed the envelope of betting money from his hand. How much? It was only a joke. How much did you collect? $6,000. Roman removed his watch and placed it inside the envelope. The value of the watch was greater than the house of Adrian. Now the bet is worth my attention. Adrian looked around the room. Roman, I did not mean to offend anyone. Mr. DeLuca. Adrian swallowed. Mr. DeLuca. I was drinking. Then, this will be the last drink you have beneath my roof. 2 guards approached. Adrian stepped backward. You cannot remove me from the wedding. Roman looked at him. It is my wedding. The guards seized Adrian. Roman turned toward the guests. Anyone who humiliates Clara will answer to me. No one moved. Anyone who humiliates her mother will discover how little patience I have. The guards dragged Adrian from the ballroom. Roman returned to the table. Clara stared at him. I could have defended her. I know. Then why did you do it? Because he believed there would be no consequence. That is not an answer. It is the answer you have. Clara looked toward Eleanor. Her mother appeared frightened rather than relieved. 20 minutes later, the first gunshot shattered the champagne glass. By sunrise, the attackers were dead, captured or gone. Smoke covered the western side of DeLuca House. Broken glass and burned flowers filled the corridors. Clara stood inside the private study of Roman. She wore a borrowed dress and one of his black coats. Eleanor sat on a leather sofa. Roman stood behind his desk with Luca and several guards. The pendant rested on the dark wood. Eleanor stared at it. Roman noticed. You recognize the symbol. Eleanor looked away. Clara sat beside her. Mother, where did he find that pendant? Roman picked it up. It was given to me 20 years ago. By whom? Alessandro Valenti. Eleanor closed her eyes. Clara felt cold. Who is Alessandro Valenti? Eleanor began to cry. Clara held her shoulders. Tell me. Eleanor looked at her. I worked for the Valenti family. When? Before you were born. Roman watched her carefully. Eleanor shook her head. No, that is not true. Clara moved back. What is not true? You were already born when I began working there. Clara stared at her. Eleanor reached for her hand. Your name was not Clara. Stop. Your name was Chiara Valenti. Clara stood so quickly that the chair moved behind her. Henry Whitmore was my father. He was your father in every way that mattered. In every way that mattered, Clara could barely form the words. Eleanor covered her mouth. Roman stepped around the desk. Clara looked at him. Do not come closer. He stopped. Eleanor continued through tears. The Valenti mansion was attacked when you were 4 years old. Your father ordered me to take you through a hidden tunnel. My father was Henry. Alessandro Valenti was the man who gave you life. Henry Whitmore was the man who protected it. Clara looked down at the scar on her shoulder. The fire. It began after men entered the estate from the harbor. I carried you through smoke. A burning beam fell beside us. That is how you received the scar. Why did you never tell me? Because the people who killed your family were still searching for you. Clara remembered sudden moves during childhood. She remembered Henry changing locks in the middle of the night. She remembered Eleanor burning old documents inside the kitchen sink. She remembered never being allowed near the Eastern Harbor. Roman touched the pendant. I was inside the Valenti mansion that night. Clara looked at him. Why? My father brought me to a meeting. I was 9 years old. Roman looked toward the fireplace. When the shooting began, Alessandro Valenti hid me beneath the chapel. He gave me this pendant. Why? He broke it in half. He told me the other piece belonged to his daughter. He said that if she survived, I would know her. Clara looked at Eleanor. Why would Alessandro trust a De Luca? Eleanor faced Roman. Because Vittorio De Luca was supposed to be his closest friend. The room became silent. Clara looked at Roman. Your father, Roman, did not answer immediately. My father told me that a rival family killed the Valentis. Did you believe him? I was a child. You are not a child now. Roman held her gaze. In my family, men who asked the wrong questions often died before receiving answers. Eleanor lowered her head. Henry spent years protecting you. He bought new documents. He moved us whenever someone discovered the truth. He paid anyone who threatened to expose you. The missing money. Roman looked at Eleanor. The $12 million. Eleanor nodded. Henry used it to keep Clara alive. Roman turned toward Luca. Find every account Henry used. Find every name connected to those payments. Luca left immediately. Clara looked at Roman. You believed Henry stole from you. Yes. You married me because of the money. Roman did not deny it. You planned to take the harbor. Yes. What were you going to do with me? The silence told her everything. You were going to send me away. Yes. Eleanor began to cry again. Clara laughed without humor. The guests were right. Roman stepped closer. The attack changes everything. No, the symbol changes everything. That is not what I said. You do not need to say it. Clara removed his coat. She placed it on the chair. You thought I was ordinary when you planned to discard me. Now you know I have a powerful name, and suddenly I matter. You mattered before I saw the symbol. Then why did you plan to send me away? Roman had no answer. Clara walked toward the door. You cannot leave the mansion. She turned. Watch me. The attackers knew which bedroom we would use. That is your problem. They were watching you before the wedding. Clara stopped. Roman placed several photographs on the desk. The images showed Clara leaving her shop. One showed her walking beside Eleanor. Another showed her asleep near an open window. Clara stared at the final photograph. A sentence had been written across the back. The heir will return to the harbor in a coffin. Roman crushed the photograph in his hand. Clara looked toward the windows. She no longer wanted to leave. Not because Roman had ordered her to stay. Because someone had been close enough to photograph her while she slept. The following days changed De Luca house. Guards stood outside every door. Cars moved through the gates throughout the night. Roman ordered Clara and Eleanor into the eastern wing. He sent food, clothing, and written reports about the investigation. Clara returned every report unopened. Roman did not visit. On the 5th night, Clara entered the library because she could not sleep. Roman sat alone beside the fireplace. His jacket was folded over a chair. A glass of whiskey remained untouched. Clara turned toward the door. "Stay." She stopped. "You still confuse requests with orders." Roman looked at her. "Please stay." The word sounded strange in his voice. Clara sat across from him. Roman placed a folder on the table. "These are the accounts of Henry." Clara opened it. The pages contained payments to private doctors, former intelligence officers, document forgers, and retired police officers. Roman explained. Each transfer, Henry had paid people who knew about the surviving Valenti child. He had moved money through false companies to hide Clara from anyone searching for her. He did not steal from you. He stole from the organization. To save my life. Yes. Would you have given him the money? No. Then, he made the correct decision. Roman leaned back. I did not say he was wrong. You planned to destroy his family. I planned to recover what belonged to mine. Clara closed the folder. The harbor belonged to my family before it belonged to yours. Roman looked into the fire. Yes. You admit that easily. The truth does not change because I dislike it. Clara studied him. What did your father tell you about the fire? He said Alessandro planned to betray him. Did Alessandro betray him? I do not know. You hate saying that. Yes. Why? Because uncertainty is dangerous. Clara looked at the pendant beneath his shirt. Why did Alessandro save you? Roman was silent for a moment. He found me near the chapel. Men were shooting inside the house. He was bleeding. Roman touched the chain. He told me my father had made a terrible choice. He placed me inside a storage chamber and told me not to come out until the bell stopped. He gave you the pendant. Yes. Did you ever search for the girl? For several years. What happened? My father discovered what I was doing. Roman looked at Clara. He told me the daughter was dead. He destroyed every record I found. Clara lowered her eyes. Then you found me. I found a woman whose father owed my organization money. You married her. Yes. For the wrong reason? Yes. Clara looked back at him. Why did you defend Eleanor at the wedding? Roman did not answer immediately. At first, because Adrian insulted someone beneath my protection. Clara began to look away. Roman continued. Then I saw your face. She looked at him again. You looked at your mother as if his words hurt you more than they hurt her. Why did that matter? My mother spent years at the table of my father while powerful men made jokes about her. Did Vittorio stop them? He never joined them. That was not my question. No, he did not stop them. Roman looked at the flames. I decided no woman beside me would experience the same thing. You could have told me. I do not explain every decision. That is a habit. It is not a strength. Roman watched her. Do you speak this way to everyone? Only men who purchase wives? Roman smiled. It was the first true smile Clara had seen. It changed his entire face. She stood quickly because she did not trust the feeling it created inside her. I should leave. Roman rose. His hand lifted toward her cheek. He stopped before touching her. Clara looked at the distance between his fingers and her skin. Why did you stop? Roman lowered his hand. You have not given me permission. Footsteps approached. The library door opened. Luca entered with a blood-stained envelope. He placed more photographs on the table. The images showed hidden entrances to De Luca house. One showed Eleanor entering the bridal shop. Another showed Clara trying on her wedding gown. The final photograph showed Roman watching Clara during the ceremony. A message was written beneath it. The son will finish the work of the father. Roman looked at Luca. Who delivered this? A boy found it near the gate. Roman moved toward the windows. Double the guards. Clara stepped closer. Whoever sent this believes you will kill me. Roman turned toward her. They will discover how wrong they are. The following morning, Roman took Clara to the harbor. A convoy of black vehicles crossed Belhaven beneath a gray sky. People watched from shop windows. Clara sat beside Roman in the rear seat. 4 vehicles followed them. 2 drove ahead. You want everyone to see us? Yes. Why? The enemy believes you are alone. You want them to attack. I want them to make a mistake. I am not bait. Roman looked at her. No. Then what am I? Something more dangerous than bait. What does that mean? Roman looked back toward the road. I have not decided. The Whitmore Harbor property stood beyond several abandoned warehouses. Fog moved between loading cranes. The largest building had been closed since Henry became ill. Roman unlocked the doors. Dust covered old shipping machines. Clara walked past broken crates and maps. The Valenti symbol appeared above the eastern docks on one map. All of this belonged to them. To your family. Your father took it. Yes. Clara looked at him. You admit terrible things with very little emotion. Emotion does not repair them. Neither does silence. A guard called from the rear of the warehouse. He had found a trapdoor beneath a metal cabinet. Roman opened it. Stone stairs descended underground. Clara followed him. You should remain above. You promised to stop deciding for me. I made no such promise. You should begin now. Roman looked at her. Stay behind me. That is a request I can accept. The tunnel beneath the harbor smelled of salt and rust. Old wires ran along the walls. Water moved beneath metal grates. At the end of the passage, they found a hidden office. A blanket rested on a chair. Food remained inside a cabinet. A lamp stood on the desk. Clara opened a drawer. Several letters carried her name. She sat down. The first letter had been written by Henry. My dear Clara, if you are reading this, then I failed to keep the past buried. Clara continued reading. Henry explained that Alessandro Valenti had discovered Vittorio was moving weapons through the harbor. Vittorio had bribed judges, politicians, and officers. Alessandro planned to expose him. Vittorio learned of the plan and ordered the attack on the Valenti mansion. Henry helped Eleanor escape with Clara. For 20 years, he collected proof. He borrowed money from the DeLuca organization because he knew Roman would eventually follow the missing funds. Clara looked up. Henry wanted you to find this place. Roman examined the empty cabinets. The evidence is gone. Clara continued reading. Henry had written one final warning. Do not assume Roman is his father. Do not assume he is not. Roman read the words over her shoulder. He understood me well. He never met you. He studied my organization for years. Clara folded the letter. He arranged the path that brought you to me. Roman shook his head. I chose the marriage. Because of the debt he created, I chose it because I wanted control. At least you still admit that. A metal sound came from the tunnel. Roman drew his weapon. The lights went out. Gunfire struck the doorway. Roman pushed Clara behind the desk. His guards returned fire from the passage. Water rushed through pipes inside the walls. Roman looked toward the floor. They are flooding the tunnel. An attacker entered the office. Roman waited beside the door. He struck the man when he passed. The weapon fell. Clara kicked it away. Roman forced the attacker against the wall. Who sent you? The man smiled. The old king wants his harbor. Vittorio. The attacker looked at Clara. He says the girl should have burned with the rest. Roman struck him. The man fell. Roman continued hitting him. Clara caught his arm. Roman. He did not stop. Roman. He turned toward her. His eyes were filled with something worse than anger. Fear. The water rose around their ankles. The metal door at the end of the tunnel began closing. Roman grabbed the letters. He caught the hand of Clara. Run. They moved through the passage. Water reached their knees, then their waists. An explosion shook the tunnel. Stone fell behind them. Clara slipped. Roman lifted her into his arms. Put me down. You cannot move fast enough. I can walk. Not through this. He carried her against the current. The water climbed higher. The stairs appeared ahead. A metal beam fell from the ceiling. Roman pushed Clara beyond it. The beam trapped him. Clara reached the first stair. Roman remained behind the beam, with water rising toward his chest. Go. Clara turned back. Go now. She returned. His face filled with anger. What are you doing? Saving you. You cannot lift this. Then help me. They pushed together. The beam moved enough for Roman to crawl beneath it. They climbed the stairs as the tunnel collapsed behind them. Roman and Clara fell onto the warehouse floor. Water exploded through the trapdoor. Roman rolled toward Clara. His hands moved over her arms and face. Are you injured? No. He checked her shoulders. I am fine. He did not stop. Roman. His hands framed her face. Clara saw panic beneath his control. She placed her hands over his. I am alive. Roman lowered his forehead to hers. For one moment. Neither of them moved. Then he kissed her. The kiss carried the fear he refused to speak. Clara gripped his wet shirt. Roman pulled her closer. His arm wrapped around her waist. The sounds of guards and rushing water disappeared. Then Roman stopped. He released her. That should not have happened. Clara stood slowly. No, it should not. She walked away. Neither of them believed the words. The captured attacker gave them the name of Vittorio. The father of Roman had not retired to Italy. He had been living at a private estate north of Boston. Roman summoned loyal men from several cities. DeLuca House became a command center. Weapons arrived inside black cases. Captains gathered around maps. Every entrance was guarded. Clara watched powerful men lower their heads when Roman entered a room. He had built an empire separate from Vittorio. Now he was preparing to destroy the man who gave him that power. Clara found Roman beneath the mansion inside the war room. Maps covered the walls. Photographs of Vittorio and his properties covered the table. Roman dismissed the other men. You should be resting. You should stop telling me where I should be. You nearly drowned. So did you. Because you came back. You would be dead if I did not. Roman turned toward the map. I knew my men were behind us. No. You hoped they were. He said nothing. Clara stepped beside him. You plan to attack your father? I plan to stop him from attacking you. What happens after? After what? After you destroy him. Roman looked toward the photographs. Some of my men will leave. Others will turn against me. You could lose the empire. He sent men into my home on our wedding night. Because of the harbor. Roman stepped closer. Because of you. Clara looked at him. His voice became quieter. For 20 years, I believed Alessandro saved me because he expected me to become better than Vittorio. Did you? I became more efficient. Clara smiled, despite herself. Roman looked at her lips. Then he raised his hand toward her face. Again. He stopped. Clara caught his wrist. You keep doing that. Doing what? Almost touching me. Roman looked at her fingers around his wrist. I am trying not to take what you have not offered. Clara released him. Roman did not lower his hand. She stepped closer until his palm rested against her cheek. His breath changed. The most feared man in Belhaven looked uncertain. You were going to send me away. Yes. You believed my father was a thief. Yes. You believed I would be easy to control. Yes. The answer hurt. Roman moved his thumb across her cheek. I was wrong. About which part? Every part. Clara looked into his eyes. Why did you stop kissing me at the warehouse? Because I did not know whether I kissed you from fear or desire. Do you know? Now Roman leaned closer. Before he answered, the door opened. Luca entered with a tablet. A news report showed the Belhaven courthouse. The face of Clara appeared across a large screen. The headline announced that the missing Valenti heir had been found. Photographs from her childhood appeared beside documents from the marriage contract. A video showed Roman entering the bridal shop. Another showed Clara signing the contract. The report accused Roman of forcing the Valenti heir into marriage to claim her inheritance. Clara watched in silence. A statement from Vittorio appeared. He claimed that Roman was dangerous. He demanded that the government protect Clara. The man who killed my family is pretending to save me. Roman turned off the tablet. Vittorio wants the government to separate us. Separate us? Roman looked at her. Separate you from this house. You were the one who planned to send me away. That was before. Before what Roman did not answer. Luca continued. Federal agents want to speak with Clara. Roman shook his head. No. Clara faced him. You said you would stop deciding for me. I said no such thing. Then say it now. Vittorio owns people inside the government. The evidence can expose him. The evidence is gone. Clara remembered the final line in the letter of Henry. When the bells ring beneath the water, the dead will testify. She looked toward the harbor map. The chapel. Roman became still. What chapel? The Valenti chapel collapsed into the water after the fire. Roman looked at the old property map. The bells ring beneath the water. Clara touched the location marked near the cliffs. The evidence may still be there. Roman reached for his coat. Clara stopped him. We go together. No. Then I will tell the federal agents where it is. Roman looked at her. That is blackmail. It is negotiation. His eyes narrowed. Clara did not move. Roman finally nodded. Together, they reached the ruins of the Valenti estate at midnight. A storm moved across the Atlantic. Rain struck the cliffs. Waves crashed against black rocks. Only burned foundations remained where the mansion had once stood. A stone stairway descended toward the water. Roman brought 6 guards. Clara carried the letter from Henry. At the bottom of the stairs, they found an iron door marked with the winged crown. Roman placed his pendant into a narrow opening. Nothing happened. Clara studied the symbol. It needs both pieces. The other piece is gone. Clara looked at the scar on her shoulder. Roman understood. She pressed the marked skin against a metal plate beside the door. A lock moved inside the wall. The door opened. The passage descended beneath the sea. They entered. At the end, they found a stone chamber. A bronze bell hung above them. An inscription covered its surface. Truth is a debt paid by the living. Clara pulled the rope. The bell rang. The sound moved through the stone and water. A hidden wall opened. Metal cases waited inside. Roman lifted one onto a table. The case contained ledgers, photographs, and recorded conversations. The name of Vittorio appeared on nearly every page. Clara found a photograph of her real parents. Alessandro stood beside a woman holding a young child. Clara touched the photograph. She expected to feel recognition. She felt grief. Roman stood beside her. Her name was Sofia. How do you know Alessandro spoke about her that night? What did he say? He said she would never leave without her children. Clara closed her eyes. Roman placed his hand between her shoulders. A voice came from the entrance. The dead always look innocent in photographs. Roman turned. Vittorio De Luca stood beneath the stone arch. Armed men filled the passage behind him. Roman moved in front of Clara. Vittorio smiled. My son, you should have stayed hidden. I could not miss the return of Chiara Valenti. Clara stepped beside Roman. My name is Clara. That is the name of a seamstress. It is the name of the woman who survived you. Vittorio looked at the scar on her shoulder. You have the pride of Sofia. You have her blood on your hands. Roman raised his weapon. Take another step and you die. Vittorio looked at him. You would kill your father for this woman, yes. The answer came without hesitation. Vittorio laughed. I built everything you control. You built it from the bodies of her family. Power always requires bodies. Alessandro saved your son. He tried to turn Roman against me. Roman looked at him. Perhaps he succeeded. Anger entered the face of Vittorio. You married her for the harbor. Yes. You believed her father stole your money. Yes. You planned to discard her. Roman remained silent. Vittorio looked at Clara. The difference between my son and me is not morality. I know what I am. He still lies to himself. Clara stepped forward. The difference is that Roman can choose what he becomes next. Vittorio raised his weapon. Roman fired. Gunshots filled the chamber. Roman pulled Clara behind the bronze bell. His guards fired toward the entrance. Stone broke around them. A bullet struck the bell. The sound shook the chamber. Roman pushed a metal case into the hands of Clara. Take the evidence. I will not leave you. If this evidence is destroyed, your family dies again. A guard opened a narrow passage behind the wall. Roman touched the back of her neck. Go? There was no command in his voice. There was only fear. Clara entered the passage with Luca. They climbed toward the cliff. An explosion shook the stairs. Clara stopped. Roman is still there. Luca caught her arm. He ordered me to protect you. I am tired of men deciding what protection means. She placed the evidence into his hands. Then she ran back down. Smoke covered the chamber. The bronze bell had fallen. Roman fought Vittorio near a broken railing. Vittorio struck him with a metal rod. Roman fell. Clara picked up a weapon from the floor. Vittorio reached for his gun. Clara aimed. Her hands trembled. Roman looked at her. Do not. Vittorio smiled. She cannot do it. Clara fired. The bullet struck the stone beside his hand. The weapon moved away from him. Roman attacked. He drove Vittorio against the wall. His hand closed around the throat of his father. Vittorio laughed. Kill me. Prove that you are mine. Roman raised the metal rod. Clara spoke softly. Roman. He looked at her. Do not become what he expects. Vittorio struggled beneath him. She makes you weak. Roman lowered the rod. No, she reminds me that I have a choice. He released Vittorio. For 1 second, Vittorio appeared confused. Then he pulled a hidden knife and rushed toward Clara. Roman moved between them. He struck his father. Both men fell against the damaged railing. The stone broke. Vittorio fell over the edge. Roman caught his wrist. Vittorio hung above the dark water. Help me. Roman looked down at him. Clara saw the child inside, Roman still searching for a father. Vittorio reached upward with his free hand. He did not reach for Roman. He reached for the knife. Roman saw it. His fingers opened. Vittorio fell. The water pulled him beneath a ruined chapel. He did not return. Roman remained beside the edge. I let him fall. Clara approached him. He chose the knife. I could have saved him. Yes. Roman looked at her. Clara touched his face. You chose not to die with him. The ceiling began to collapse. Luca shouted from the passage. Roman lifted the evidence case. Clara took his hand. Together, they ran toward the surface. The Valenti records destroyed the empire of Vittorio. Judges, officers, and shipping executives were arrested. Properties were seized. Accounts were frozen. Men who had believed themselves untouchable began begging for protection. Roman did not escape. He gave the records to federal investigators. He admitted the crimes committed beneath his leadership. The government offered him an agreement. Roman would surrender every illegal operation. He would testify against the remaining leaders of the organization. His legal companies would be examined. In return, he would avoid prison. Roman signed. Then he transferred ownership of the Bellhaven harbor to Clara. She found the documents inside the library several weeks later. Roman stood near the windows. What is this, the harbor? You gave it to me. It was always yours. You could have claimed part of it through the marriage. I could have. Why did you not? Roman looked at her. I am finished taking what was not freely given. Clara closed the folder. 3 weeks had passed since the chapel. Roman had not kissed her. He had not entered her bedroom. He protected her and included her in every decision. He also kept a careful distance. You are leaving. Roman did not deny it. Yes. Where's Chicago? For how long, I do not know. You always know. Not this time. Clara studied him. You married me to gain the harbor. Now you gave it back and planned to disappear. The marriage can be ended. Clara felt the words inside her chest. Is that what you want? What I want does not matter. Stop saying that. Roman looked at her. You do not get to protect me by leaving. You should not remain tied to a man who planned to use you. I know what you planned. A man whose father murdered your family. You are not your father. A man who has killed for less than what happened in the chapel. I know what you are. Roman stepped closer. No. You know what I allowed you to see. Then, show me everything. Silence filled the library. Roman looked away. There is no life with me that is completely safe. Clara took another step. I am not asking for safety. What are you asking for? The truth. You have it. Not all of it. Roman looked at her. Clara lowered her voice. Do you love me because I am a Valentino? Because Alessandro saved you? No. Because you feel guilty? No. Then why are you leaving? Roman closed his hands. Because every day I stay, it becomes harder to imagine leaving. Clara felt tears in her eyes. That is still not the truth. Roman turned away. She moved in front of him. Say it. His face lost its control. I love you. The words were quiet. Clara stopped breathing. Roman continued. I loved you before I knew the symbol was yours. When? At the wedding. Clara shook her head. You barely looked at me. I looked at you more than you knew. He stepped closer. I saw you walk through a room filled with people who wanted you to feel ashamed. You never lowered your head. His voice became rougher. I knew when Adrian insulted Eleanor. I wanted to destroy him because his words hurt you. Clara listened. I knew inside the flooded tunnel. You came back when every reasonable person would have left me. Roman raised one hand. I knew when you stood in front of Vittorio and told him I could choose. His fingers touched her cheek. I love you because you see the fear beneath my anger. A tear moved across the face of Clara. I love you because you returned kindness after receiving cruelty. His other hand settled at her waist. I love you because every room becomes empty when you leave it. Clara placed the documents, ending their marriage, against his chest. Burn them. Roman looked down. You should think carefully. I have spent my life letting other people decide what I deserve. Clara pressed the pages into his hand. I have decided. Roman walked toward the fireplace. He held the documents above the flames. He looked back at her. Are you certain? Yes. He released the papers. Fire covered them. Clara watched every page disappear. Roman remained near the fireplace. You said you would not remain with me until I proved that I loved you. Yes. Have I proved it? Clara looked at the harbor documents. She looked at the evidence he had surrendered. She looked at the man who had destroyed his inheritance rather than allow it to destroy her. Almost. Roman raised an eyebrow. Almost. You still owe me a wedding. We already had one. We had an attack with flowers. Roman smiled. Clara moved closer. I want a wedding where no one bets on the end of the marriage. I can arrange that. No armed men inside the chapel. That is not reasonable. Roman. They will remain outside. Clara placed her hands against his chest. When the priest tells you to kiss me, do not ask whether I want to turn away. What should I ask? Ask whether I want you to stop. Roman leaned closer. Do you? No. He kissed her. This kiss carried no fear and no obligation. His arms closed around her. Clara felt power in his hold. She also felt restraint. Roman did not take. He waited for her to choose. Clara pulled him closer. Outside. Rain struck the windows. Behind them, the final page of the marriage agreement burned away. Their second wedding took place 6 months later. Clara chose the restored chapel above the harbor. Stone from the Valenti estate formed the walls. Wood from the Whitmore property formed the doors. The bronze bell recovered from beneath the water hung above the entrance. Eleanor walked Clara toward the altar. She cried before the music began. Clara wore a gown created in her own shop. The fabric followed her body without trying to hide it. Silver wings covered the bodice. A crown rested above her heart. She did not design the gown to make herself look smaller. She had spent too many years shrinking herself for people who never deserved the power they held in her mind. She designed the gown like armor. Roman waited at the altar. He still wore black. His illegal empire was gone. His remaining companies now operated beneath the law. The people of Belhaven still feared him. No one had become foolish enough to mistake change for weakness. The harbor employed hundreds of families. Clara created housing funds, medical support and scholarships for the children of workers. Roman attended every meeting. He never tried to control the foundation. He listened when Clara spoke. When someone interrupted her, one look from Roman usually ended the problem. The priest began the ceremony. Roman held the hands of Clara. His voice remained calm. His fingers did not. I spent most of my life believing love was another form of weakness. He looked into her eyes. Then you entered my home and showed me that changing requires more courage than controlling. Clara felt tears rise. I cannot promise there will never be danger. Roman paused. I cannot promise I will never confuse protection with control. Several guests smiled. I can promise I will listen when you remind me. His hands tightened gently around hers. I promise that no truth will be hidden from you. I promise that my life will remain beside yours, only for as long as you freely choose it. Clara smiled through her tears. My entire life. People told me I should be grateful for any kindness I received. She looked at Roman. You were powerful enough to take everything from me. His face tightened. Then you became powerful enough to give it back. Roman lowered his head slightly. I cannot promise I will make obedience easy. I would be concerned if you did. Soft laughter filled the chapel. Clara continued. I promise I will stand beside you when standing becomes difficult. I will tell you the truth when silence would be safer. I will love the man you choose to become. I will never love the empire you inherited more than the soul you nearly lost. The priest looked at Roman. You may kiss your bride. Roman leaned closer to Clara. Do you want me to stop? Clara lifted her chin. Try it and discover the answer. Roman smiled. Then he kissed her beneath the restored Valenti bell. Sunlight broke through the clouds. The light spread across the harbor and entered the chapel. Outside, the families of Belhaven waited near the stone steps. Some of them had once called Clara the ugliest girl in town. Now they watched her walk beside Roman. They saw her confidence. They saw the way Roman looked at her. They finally understood that beauty had never been the question. The question had always been whether Clara would believe their cruelty. She no longer did. A young girl from one of the harbor families approached. She wore a small dress made inside the shop of Clara. She held a flower in both hands. You look like a queen. Clara knelt beside her. So do you. The child smiled. Roman watched them. His expression softened. Clara stood and took his hand. You are staring. I am allowed. You are my wife. Be careful. Why, someone may think you are obsessed with me. Roman looked toward the black vehicles beyond the gates. He looked toward the guards hidden along the road. Then he looked back at Clara. They would be correct. They walked toward the harbor. The wind lifted the veil of Clara. Roman removed the broken Valenti pendant from beneath his shirt. The missing half had been recovered from the records inside the chapel. Together, the pieces formed the complete winged crown. Roman placed it inside the palm of Clara. "This belongs to you." Clara closed his fingers around it. "It belongs to us." Roman looked at her. The past had not stopped hurting. Not every enemy had disappeared. Not every scar had faded. The difference was that the truth no longer lived beneath fire and silence. Roman lifted her hand to his lips. Behind them, the harbor bell rang. For the first time in 20 years, neither of them heard a warning. They heard a beginning.